Good evening. The mystery of how Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Masika Wetangula agreed to sign the ridiculous 70% Western vote power sharing deal with Kenya Kwanza is really continuing to elicit reactions. The Eugene Wamalwa was trying to explain to Moses Wetangula that what was happening is William Ruto gave them posts on this other side, on the left side, and then he took the same posts with his left hand. So the truth of the matter here is that the 70% is not possible. It is not most likely possible because even in 2013, Musalia Mudavadi was in ballot as a presidential candidate. And he got nearly 400,000 votes, which was not even half of the votes from the Western Kenya. So as we get towards the August 9th polls, the Western Kenya vote basket is merely 3.3 million. If they have a good turnout, then 2.6 million will go to vote. Out of 2.6, for Musalia Mudavadi to get 70%, it's a misery. And in this video, I want to tell you the inside plan by William Ruto to put that 70% mark, to put that 70% target for Musalia and Wetangula. But then I was trying to discuss with some, of course, some subscribers, do peer analysis, subscribers from Western. And I was told that the Luhya nation has almost 19 sub-tribes. So the 19 sub-tribes are divided from the Bukusus, the Teso, the Tiriki, and all that. He mentioned to me quite a number of them. From Bukusu, they're the ones that from Bungoma. There are some that are in Kakamega. Then there is also the assimilation county of Bungoma, of Busia, where it's half Luo and half Luhya. So because of that assimilation, it has worked out. Now, it has been difficult for the Luhya nation to converge around one political leader because of those sub-tribes. So that is why they talk about Mulembe nation. Now, with that also in mind, the influence of DAPK, the new political party there, and ODM wave seems to be really sinking. And I realized the other day that Fernandez Baraza, who is eyeing Kakamega governor seat, has decided to work with Savula, and Savula is now going to be his deputy. Now that is a synergy in Kakamega with the presence of the incumbent governor Oparanya. You even don't expect Musalia Mudavadi to get 50% from Kakamega. But of course, because Vihiga is his home county, he's most likely to eclipse Raila Odinga influence there and gain more votes for William Samoei Ruto. We all know about the murky elections in this country. No one ever knows that what exactly happened in 2013, 2017, but that's a topic for another day. Now, one thing I was asking myself is and I was wondering about this, if Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula goes to campaign, what is the kind of message that they are going to give that can synchronize with the audience, trying to talk to a voter who already knows that they need to vote for you in majority so that you become a prime minister and you become a Senate speaker. But I understand it was more of a collective bargaining, it was a collective responsibility deal so that the voters of Western Kenya would sympathize with perhaps Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula. And that would exactly help to maybe, let's say, create a wave of build a euphoria amongst the voters of Western Kenya. It's very difficult because the moment you go to start campaigning and people know that the 70% is needed, then the perception is that you are exchanging the percentage with the posts. And you know, the media knows how to create this agenda, and the narrative has been framed. No one is talking about the roads, the bitumen roads that were promised. No one is talking about the revival of the two companies, Mumias and Zoia. But then it has been concentrated to be at the parks. Coincidentally, this is the ground that William Ruto used to oppose the BBI, because the BBI had subsidiary clauses or other clauses that were talking about revenue sharing, the ward fund and all that. But they demonized the document at the apex because of the expanded executive. So I am so keen to figure out how Wetangula and Mudavadi are going to campaign with such a mind to talk to voters who already have an understanding of that. And that is why people feel that it is very, very impossible. But then what motivated Deputy President to go that direction? I want us to look at that. Kindly, if you're watching this video and you have not yet subscribed, I want to humbly request you to subscribe and also click the notification bell. Maybe when you talk about 70%, what you mean, like in Kakamega, there are 800,000 registered voters. If 700,000 people vote, 70% of 700,000 is merely like 500,000 votes. That's impossible, because again, some of those counties, it's not only typical Luyas. Like in Kakamega town, you will realize that all the clubs, all the tribes are there. So people vote also along those lines. But one of the reasons why I feel this was done is because William Ruto was setting a breakaway strategy with Mudavadi. To many have seen it as a betrayal, but to me it is more than just a betrayal. Betrayal is just saying that I promised you this, I'm not giving you, but this is going to be breakaway. It's a breakaway in the sense that what Ruto is going to do is this: if he forms government, you cannot exclusively just have the Luhya and Kalenjin and Kikuyu in that government. You also have to create space for you to reach out, because again, the cabinet must have a national outlook. So if the 30% that Mudavadi was given, the breakaway is being laid so that it can give room for post-election agreements with other parties. Let me just be realistic with you. If William Ruto forms government, he will most likely make a call to perhaps Raila Odinga or even Kalonzo Musyoka. The Mount Kenya and Kalenjin is already a big stake in that government. Now, for you to create space for the rest of the country, well, you have to lay such a ridiculous agreement with Mudavadi, because he knew that Mudavadi is not going to achieve it. But to allow that breakaway, and most likely, if there is a position of then Prime Minister, what will happen is that some of those appointments I've been talking about might be given to other people. And that will be the ground for him to break away the Mudavadi and Wetangula. And I see it as not just breaking away because of that deal, but the breakaway is also part of Ruto's scheme to plan for 2027. Because for 2027, most likely Mudavadi will want to be supported, if whether William Ruto makes government or not. So for that breakaway to happen, Ruto most likely will have to consolidate another team. Maybe with now Raila or Uhuru or perhaps Kalonzo Musyoka. In my understanding, William Ruto is funding the campaigns, the Kenya Kwanza campaigns. I was just watching the rally of first rally of Amason Kingi PA party in Kilifi. For the first time after joining Kenya Kwanza, the PA has organized a rally, not a rally, but I think a bit of a conference where almost everyone was putting on the blue PA t-shirt. So what he has done is dispatched and is now supporting these small parties. And I think that is what strikes the difference between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja. I think Azimio la Umoja, the campaign financing is not that open on who is to be given what. So William Ruto is bankrolling them. Because William Ruto is bankrolling them, he wants maximum utilization of the campaign resources. Because, for example, if you don't give them such a big target, or such, let's say, an overambitious target, you are not going to stretch the resources. But with that, these leaders, perhaps even Maendeleo Chapchap, the Pa, Amason Kingi, Wetangula, and Mudavadi, they will have to stretch and maximize the resources as they work towards achieving the bargain. And I know that in reality, maybe they just set the 70% for the papers, but that is just to stretch, to make them overwork. At least he can get 40% from Western, and Kingi cannot get 50%. That one is out. Kingi can only get 21 or 7 or 12%. So that is, in fact, Kingi can get 10. So what I believe is it was also to maximize the use of resources. But then the other question that comes into this is this: vote catch strategy seems to have collapsed. The strategy was to bungle Kenyans in one pyramid known as bottom-up economic model, so that everyone was to be created, and that model is what they believe is now uplifting the hustlers. But having realized that it did not get the catch, in fact, I can tell you that if William Ruto is going to, if his campaign strategists are still going to insist on him talking about the hustler and that economic model, that is going to be the first. That is going to be one reason why he is likely to lose the elections, because that narrative now been patched. It has been patched by the realities in the political space. The reality is you need to create positions for people, so people don't trust. It now lacks the authenticity, the originality, the realism in it, because it has now been dispatched. It has now been patched by the political reality. But I am also persuaded by this. What would have made them to be much at the masses of deputy president, just to append their signatures in such an over-ambitious and an impossible document? Then there is a likelihood that before they joined Kenya Kwanza, there was some sort of facilitation, or what other people might say, compensation. Because Moses Wetangula, I think, is a victim of circumstance. For him, he was just in someone's wedding. He was just a best man in Mudavadi's wedding. Then he also got a wife. Then he also got married there. But Mudavadi and Mutua and Pa could have been facilitated. Now let's look at Alfred Mutua. Where do you think Ruto will go for Alfred Mutua? It was very likely because he was lacking someone, a very promising leader from Kambani. The other chairman, Johnston Mudama, is too official and is very sophisticated. Doesn't seem to be campaigning. He's not very vibrant on campaigns. Mombasa is struggling. In Kilifi, he only had Aisha Jumwa. Then the rest are just the MPs and MCs. So most likely he will be prompted to go and look for the two gentlemen. Now, if they were facilitated, that could be the reason why also William Ruto is raising the bar high, and the bar is raised because they don't have any means. Now, on the light of this, my next analysis will be on why I think that Azimio's power sharing document is not in public.